Welcome to the Vegan Good Life with Miyoko. On today's show, I'm making one of my favorite comfort foods from Japan, tempura, and I'm going to serve it in tendon style, which is like a bowl of rice with crispy tempura, crispy delicate tempura on top, and the sauce drizzled. Oh my gosh, when I lived in Japan, that was my favorite lunchtime meal. All right, this tempura recipe can be found in my very, very old book. I don't even know when this came out. Japanese Cooking, Contemporary and Traditional. I think this came out in 1999, so it was a very, very long time ago. Now, tempura, as I mentioned earlier, is comfort food to me. It's one of my favorite dishes. Because it's fried, I don't eat it very often. But today, we're going to celebrate. It is just one of those days when I need that comfort. So I've got these beautiful vegetables here. You can use any vegetable you like. I've got things that are traditional and things that are less traditional. I have a beautiful Japanese eggplant, which I've sliced up. I've got sweet potatoes in two different colors. I've got the Stokes purple sweet potatoes as well as a garnet. Delicata squash, not something you can find in Japan, but it's beautiful and absolutely delicious. I have baby broccoli, and I've got oyster mushrooms. Now, I'm also going to make something out of, what is this? Who can guess? Okay, this is called Yuba, which is the skin that forms on soy milk. And the reason it's this round is that the soy milk was probably heated up in like a 55-gallon drum. And it's just like when you heat up milk and a skin forms on top, the same thing happens with soy milk, and they hoist that skin off and then they dry it over a bamboo pole to form these sheets. And these are what I use to make the skin for my famous unturkey. But today I'm going to make kind of a fish out of these. So they come frozen. You can buy them in Asian grocery stores, typically in the freezer. Hodo Soy, which is a Oakland-based company, makes it fresh as well too. And if you do buy them frozen, or in a Japanese market, you might find them dried, you must soak them and get them wet ahead of time. So in order to be able to use it, to render them as pliable as possible. So I'm just going to run these under cold water, and we're just going to let them sit for a minute. And this will soften up and become more pliable. It's already doing that. Okay, and I'm going to just tear these up. We're going to roll them, but I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller so they don't have to be exact. As you can see, they're already becoming more pliable. And then I'm going to put them in a little marinade, a really simple marinade of just a little bit of water, a little bit of soy sauce, and then the secret sauce is vegan fish sauce. Now, this is my favorite brand. It's called 24 Vegan, but there are other varieties in the marketplace that you can find that you can use just as well. And of course, it's going to add a little bit of that fermented flavor, sort of a fishy flavor. And you know, there are even recipes for making your own. I have a recipe for making a vegan fish sauce in the Homemade Vegan Pantry as well. Just going to kind of mix that around, let it marinate for a few minutes. Okay, for tempura, you have to have a dipping sauce, so we're going to make that first. Now, typically, you would make your dipping sauce out of something like kombu, which is a sea vegetable. It's a little harder to come by at Safeway or someplace like that. So we're going to cheat today, make it easy for the American cook. And we're just going to use an instant stock. Now, I have some mushroom stock here, and I want 1 1/4 cups of this. So I'm going to add that to my water. If you want to make a proper kombu stock or kombu shiitake stock, I do have a recipe in the Japanese cooking. So you can use that, or you can just cheat like I'm going to today. Cheating is wonderful after all. Okay, I'm going to also add some soy sauce, about 1/3 cup to 1/2 cup. And Japanese tempura dipping sauce is always slightly sweet, and we're gonna give that sweetness using mirin, which is Japanese sweet sake. So I'm gonna use about a quarter cup of that. And then right before we serve it, we can add a little bit of freshly grated ginger as well as freshly grated daikon radish. All right, we're gonna start frying. Before you start frying, before you heat your oil, make sure you have everything ready, all the vegetables prepped and ready to go. The batter comes together in seconds, so I'm gonna turn this heat on and I'm gonna get my oil started. Now this is a Japanese tempura fryer, or just a Japanese fryer. It's kind of a, sort of like a wok, but it's flat on the bottom and it kind of curves up. And I have had that. I inherited this from my mom, and I probably have had it for, I don't know, 40 years? It's been a long time. Japanese tempura batter is typically made with water, flour, and eggs. We're gonna make it shojin style, which is a traditional vegan style that is prepared in temples. And to make it really, really light and crispy, that's what tempura batter is. It is the lightest, the crispiest. It's just a very delicate crunch. It's different from, you know, batter for your fried chicken, your vegan fried chicken or whatever. This is a really light, delicate, crispy batter. So you want to start out with icy cold water. I'm going to put a cup of water in here. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, a pinch of baking soda instead of the egg, which will make it lighter, and a cup of cake flour. Now you can use all-purpose flour if you like, but the more delicate the flour is, if you can get a cake flour or a pastry flour, the better it is. And you never ever overbeat your tempura batter. You just want to stir it long enough that all the ingredients are combined, but it's still going to have a few lumps. So it's best to either use a pair of chopsticks like this or a whisk. Now there's going to be a few lumps. That's good. Just let it sit for a minute. Okay, I have this special fry paper from Japan, or, you know, a Japanese store. Looks like this, and it's for draining anything that you fried. But you can use paper towels, you can use newspaper, whatever you want to catch the oil. But I'm going to use this because I have it. Why not? All right, to test the oil to see whether it's ready or not, what I like to do is drop my batter in there, and you see how it just sort of rose to the top just like that? That means my oil is nice and hot, and so I'm going to start frying. All right, I'm going to dip my vegetables in here. I'm starting out with my sweet potatoes. And tempura batter is not thick. It tends to be fairly thin. You want to make sure you don't overcrowd the pan. If you find it a little too thin, you can add a little bit more flour. I'm going to fish out the little tempura, little batter bits. They actually sell these batter bits. They're good. They're so light and crispy. Okay, now I'm adding the oyster mushrooms. That looks perfect. All right, I'm back with the fish now, and they have sort of soaked up the marinade, the Yuba has. And I am just going to kind of roll this up into a little packet that will cook up in a very flaky manner. And what I'm going to do is now roll it in some nori, which will give it some more fishy goodness. So, or not fishy, let's say flavor of the sea. So they don't have to be perfectly rolled up or anything. We'll just do a couple right now to get started. Put that in here. The nori will not adhere if it's not wet. That one kind of fell apart, but that's okay. It'll probably still taste good. When it's wet, it kind of sticks together, and that's what you want. I fried the tempura and now it's ready to eat. But first I gotta take care of the daikon. So I'm going to peel the daikon, radish. And typically what you do is you grate the daikon. You want a really, really, really fine grater. And this is a traditional grater from Japan. I bought this in Kyoto from a traditional wood maker. I guess that's an artisan who makes these things, and I absolutely love this. Now this is another type of grater that I can use for the ginger, and you can use this also for the daikon by grating it like this and then pushing it down into this receptacle, but I really like to use this. I use this grater to grate apples that I put into my oatmeal as well too. It works beautifully. I doubt you'll be able to find something like this in the United States, but it has these ridges, you see, that grate it for you. And then daikon is very, very high in water content, so you're gonna wanna squeeze this out like this. Squeeze all of that water out. I'm gonna make a little mound of the daikon here. Now, you'll get a much finer grate if you use this for the daikon, but I'm gonna use this for the ginger. And then the ginger goes right on top like this. You know what, let me do this right. Let me get some nice Japanese dishes so I can improve the presentation a little bit, okay? Couple ways to eat this. Traditional way, one traditional way is you put your sauce in a bowl like this, and then you dip, and then you eat. So good. But one of my favorite ways to eat it is called tendon, which is like a bowl, a tempura bowl, where you have rice in a bowl, the tempura on top, and the sauce poured over it. So that's what I'm gonna prepare for you right now, and I'm gonna chow it down right in front of you. But let me take a bite of this first. We're gonna start out with a nice big bowl, and what is this? I don't have a rice cooker. This is a traditional Japanese ceramic rice pot, gifted to me by a friend in Kyoto. And this is what I use to cook rice. And this, I didn't cook the rice today. You know, in the good life, you can't waste. And so this is leftover rice. And I reheated it. I added a little bit of water. So got a little burnt on the bottom. But you know what? Hey, it's all good. All right. On top of here, I've got baby broccoli. I have delicata squash, oyster mushrooms, vegan fish. I have Stokes purple sweet potatoes. I've got crispy eggplant. I'm gonna just pour this on top, and it's gonna infuse the vegetables with the flavor as well as the rice. Oh, wow. So crispy, so light. I gotta try the oyster mushrooms. All right, let me try my fish. This is my favorite way to eat tempura. Oh my God. Cammy, I have tendon. You want to come and eat? Were you dreaming about cake? How about tempura? Are you dreaming about tempura too?
Yes.
Yum, yum, yum.
Oh, that tastes really good.
I know, doesn't it taste good?
They're like a...
The rice is burnt because I reheated it.
Uh-huh.
By the way, Japanese rice is short grain or medium grain rice. It's not light and fluffy, it's a little bit sticky. So make sure you buy Japanese rice. Now, I always recommend if you can get something called Haiga rice, which is the rice that has the germ in it. Haiga means germ. So it has the germ intact, so it's got the nutrients of brown rice, but it looks and tastes like white rice. And that is my favorite. Is that good? I got delicata squash. You're eating a little bit of everything, aren't you?
What's the best part of
I know. I rarely make it anymore. We used to eat it like once a month or so, huh? Yum, yum, yum. It is addicting. You can't stop eating this stuff. But it is fried, so we don't eat it very often, do we?
Fried is good for your blood.
Well, if Tammy says so, then it must be. Okay. This is what makes me do the happy dance. What I grew up on. Thanks for tuning in. If you want this recipe, check out my old book, Japanese Cooking, Contemporary and Traditional from 1999. Oh, and I'm writing a new book on the vegan creamery, how to make everything that you would make in a creamery out of plant milks. So that'll be out in 2025. Okay, I opened the gate, but usually I just do this. Oh, I lost my shoe. I am so happy with where the garden has come. We've got a lovely woman who is our garden director, and this fall we've got lots of kids coming here from schools, elementary to high school, and we're going to be talking about growing vegetables and food here. We want them to learn about how to create a more compassionate food system, get their hands in the ground here. And as you can see, all these vegetables are just coming up so quickly. And this is our voluntary pumpkin patch. We didn't plant this, we had a compost pile here, and just look at all the pumpkins that are coming up. The kids will be able to come over here and find and pick their own pumpkin. I am picking all these lovely weeds for the goats and the sheep. They absolutely love this. The donkeys too. I don't know what you call this. I bet Cammy knows. Ah, that's spiky. But this stuff, all right, carry this over to the animals. This garden was neglected and things are coming back to life. I think next year the trees are really going to produce. Very exciting. Wow, this is actually tasty. Oh, the tussling has begun. All right, well, this is the Vegan Good Life, not just for people, but animals too. Thanks for watching.